production of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's the road trip wrap-up from New York. A 9-game journey from Houston through Minnesota finishes here in Flushing. A high noon start for the Diamondbacks, who welcome Robbie Ray back today against the Mets before we finally head home later tonight. It's breakfast with the Diamondbacks on Fox Sports Arizona. Good morning from Citi Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. We wrap up this road trip today and finish off this 4-game series here against the Mets. And for the first time in a month, it's Robbie Ray, Bob, on the mound for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot to celebrate on this road trip away from Chase Field, but Robbie Ray's return to the mound, to steal a phrase from Torey Lovullo, makes that rotation a lot thicker. Robbie Ray's first start since he was hit in the head July 28th in St. Louis. You see his numbers on the season. Robbie's been really good on the road this year in 10 road starts, 5-1 with a 1.47 ERA. He's been really good against the Mets in his career. 3-game start, a 1-0 record with a 0.53 earned run average. Really good to have Robbie back in that rotation.
He's an all-star pitcher, and he is back just in time. He's up against right-hander Rafael Montero here today. The Diamondbacks and the Mets, glad you're with us this morning. Bright sunshine here at high noon in New York, and the first pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Earn rewards 10 times faster than ever before with the card by Gila River Casinos. Sign up for the card today. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack. A home run for your mound. By Dodge. Join the Brotherhood of Muscle at the Dodge Summer Clearance event going on now. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Get ready for the gig life. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. By Phoenix Raceway. See Dale Jr.'s final West Coast race during the Can-Am 500 NASCAR semifinal at Phoenix Raceway November 10th through the 12th. Tickets at phoenixraceway.com. And by State Farm. Here to make life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM. Well, we hit a real home run with the weather here today. Just gorgeous in Flushing, Queens. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Field. It's the Diamondbacks and the Mets getaway day here. Bright and sunny, very cool and comfortable, 77 degrees. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly, and Todd Walsh with you as the Diamondbacks wrap up this 3-city, 9-game road trip on a bright sunny day here. Chance to complete things by taking 3 of 4 at Citi Field before we finally get to head back home. Start a series against the Giants tomorrow night at Chase Field. Here's a look at the Diamondbacks lineup today. A bit of the bomb squad, as Torey Lovullo likes to put it. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Early day game after a late night game last night. Here's how Torey's going to line them up. Gregor Blanco will be in left field. Ketel Marte at shortstop. Jake Lamb at third base. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. J.D. Martinez out in right field. Brandon Drury at second base. Ray Fuentes will play center field with Chris Herman doing the catching for left-hander Robbie Ray.
Your Ram truck starter for New York is Rafael Montero, 26-year-old right-hander. 25 games with the Mets this year, 11 starts, 2-8, an ERA just under 5.5.
There's a couple of different fastballs, a four-seamer, a two-seam sinker. Best out pitch is probably a slider. He'll throw an occasional straight changeup. This guy's really struggled this season. Fewest wins through his first 23 starts for the Mets. He's right there on the list with Eric Hillman, Anthony Young, Mike Scott with his 3 victories.
Yeah, Montero began the season in the bullpen, but injuries have dramatically thinned the herd in the Mets rotation. So here he is. Let's take a look at New York defensively. That's presented by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Michael Conforto in the lineup today, out in right field. Juan Lagares in center field. Yoenis Cespedes in left. It'll be Wilmer Flores and Ahmed Rosario on the left side of the infield. Gavin Cecchini and Dominic Smith on the right side. Kevin Plawecki doing the catching today for the right-hander Rafael Montero.
Marvin Hudson is our plate umpire this afternoon, calling the balls and strikes. Mike Estabrook is the first base ump. The crew chief, Jerry Lanes, at second, and Ryan Addison is at third. And before we get underway on this bright sunny day here in Flushing, Queens, Bob, it's time for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Sun shining brightly here at Citi Field. Hopefully Robbie will be shining brightly. Gives us a ray of hope at the end of this long and grinding road trip. Be great to see Robbie go out and deal against the Mets today.
It'll be back to business beginning tomorrow night. The Diamondbacks will play their next 25 games against the National League West, holding a half-game lead over the Rockies for that first National League wild card spot. As we start play today, of course, the Brewers are in the mix. The Cardinals, the Marlins, that National League wild card hotly contested right now. Rockies are at Kansas City this afternoon, and the Marlins play at the Phillies today. Brewers are off. Cardinals host San Diego later tonight. Gregor Blanco steps in, and we are set to go. The Diamondbacks and the New York Mets. Blanco, the left fielder today, 234 and 3 homers. He walked as a pinch hitter in the 10th inning Monday night. And we are underway with strike one at Citi Field in New York. Blanco wound up scoring on A.J. Pollock's game-winning homer. That's been his only at-bat in this series.
Diamondbacks have seen Montero earlier this season. Back on May 17th, he came in the 11th inning, faced one batter, Chris Herman, who took him deep for a walk-off.
And guess who's catching today for the Diamondbacks? Coincidence? I think not. Change up there for Montero. Montero throws a hard Zach Greinke-like changeup. You'll see that changeup come in 87, 88 miles an hour. Fastball away, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blanco only 3 for 31 in August. It's been hard to get him some consistent playing time. The Mets, the worst day game record in baseball. When they're out exposed in the bright sunlight of the afternoon, they're only 11 and 24 this year. Ketel Marte, the shortstop, on deck. Tried a slider and missed, and Blanco has worked at full 3-2.
Weren't we just here?
Yes.
This is one of the quicker turnarounds in all of baseball, as we've talked about throughout this series. It takes a while to get back to the team hotel in Manhattan.
We didn't make it last night.
Yeah, we had to walk the last several blocks.
Montero strikes out Blanco to start off the ball game.
And then the early 12:10 local start time here today. They didn't leave a lot of time to sleep last night as Montero records his first strikeout with that four-seam fastball right down the middle.
Yeah, we discovered on the team bus back to the hotel after the game last night, when New York City trash collectors are going to collect the trash, they're going to block the roads.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop loading and unloading for your bus, so get out and walk. And that's what happened last night. It was a nice night for it, not too bad,
yeah.
5-6 blocks or so. But a typical kind of New York experience. Ketel Marte, the shortstop. That didn't happen during the World Series, I hope.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We made it from Yankee Stadium to Midtown Manhattan in about 8 minutes.
It's still a record.
Had a police escort. There wasn't another car on the road.
2-0. There's a strike. Ketel Marte 1 for 11 in the series, hitting .260 on the year. There's a slider, good hard slider from Montero. 85, 86. It's 2-2. Jake Lamb on deck. This will wrap up a long homestand for the Mets. They are 2-6 so far on a 9-game homestand. They'll play 19 of their next 26 on the road. 2-2 to Ketel Marte. Just reaches out and pokes it over shortstop, and it'll dunk in there for a 1-out single. Here's Jake Lamb. 263 and 27 homers. Jake, 5th in the National League with those 95 runs batted in. Doubled last night, his only hit in the series. He's walked 3 times. See what Dave McKay, coaching at first, has in store for Rafael Montero out there on the mound. Ketel Marte, for as well as he runs the bases, does not have a stolen base this year. Fastball in, 1-0 on Lamb. Jake is 5 for 25 on the road trip. He homered both in Houston and in Minnesota.
It used to be when you had a fast runner at first base and a left-handed pull hitter at the plate, you wanted him to stay at the bag and give the left-handed pull hitter that hole on the right side. But so many teams are playing a shift on Jake Lamb that I don't really think that applies anymore. If you can get a jump, go ahead and take it.
Marte holds, fastballs in there, 2-1.
You slide that second baseman over in the hole between first and second, move the shortstop up the middle of the field. There's really no reason to give Jake Lamb a hole on the right side. There is no hole on the right side.
I see Rosario, the shortstop, almost right behind the second base bag, and now he'll move over toward first base. There goes Ketel Marte. Plawecki's throw is not in time, and Ketel has his first stolen base of the year.
Now drive him in. Kind of a half-hearted swing by Jake Lamb. Not sure if that was a hit and run or whether he was just taking a swing to protect Ketel Marte and hold the catcher back a little bit.
2-2 on Jake. He lined it right to Rosario, who was standing there. The shift was on, and they double up Marte. Robbie Ray coming up from New York. And the Mets. Your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks today is the lefty Robbie Ray. His first start since July 28th. When he was struck in the head by a line drive in St. Louis, he said the other day he's ready to get back out there, and here he is.
We're ready to get him back out there. You see the opponent's batting average of .207. Robbie had a stretch of 10 straight starts. He pitched at least into the 6th inning or deeper, and that's something the Diamondbacks can really use at the top of that rotation. Give that bullpen a little bit of a blow.
Mets lineup brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Juan Lagares will lead it off in center field. Michael Conforto in right. Yoenis Cespedes in left. Wilmer Flores will be down at third base with Ahmed Rosario at short. Dominic Smith at first. Kevin Plawecki doing the catching. Gavin Cespedes at second base, and Rafael Montero, the right-hander, on the mound.
Lagares jumps on the first pitch and fouls it back behind the screen. 250 and 2 homers. Juan Lagares, the center fielder. His single last night is only hit in the series. Good zip on that Robbie Ray fastball, and it's 0-2.
He had one rehab outing for Visalia against Modesto. Went 4 2/3, punched out 11 batters in that game.
80 pitches in that ball game, 58 for strikes. He's anxious to get going. There's another fastball. Welcome back, Robbie Ray. Rings up Lagares to start us off. Here's the Diamondbacks defense. That's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Gregor Blanco will be in left field today. Ray Fuentes out in center. J.D. Martinez over in right field. It'll be Lamb and Marte on the left side of the infield with Drury and Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Herman doing the catching for lefty Robbie Ray.
The All-Star Michael Conforto in the 2-hole today. 4 hits, 3 RBIs in the series. Conforto homered here Monday night. There's a strike. First pitch curveball from Robbie. Conforto now 27 homers. He's hitting .280. Marte almost directly behind the bag at second, shaded over. Doubled up on the curveball there, and it's 1-1. Conforto against lefties this year, .216. Does have 6 home runs against left-hand pitchers. See that sunlight just gleaming off his helmet there. We got lucky with the weather this week.
We really did. We had rain on the windshield of the bus the last 2 nights going back to the hotel, but none during the ball games.
Yeah, just that one muggy day on Tuesday. Other than that, it's been gorgeous here. Boy, Robbie Ray has got that fastball working so far today. Anxious to get back. 2-2. Got him. Just blew away Conforto with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Good start for Robbie Ray. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts.
He's on pace to punch out 27.
Pace.
Fastball up near the top of the zone. That has always been a pitch that has worked in Robbie's favor to not only get the swings and misses like he just did, but to set up that hard breaking ball low and away.
Batting third today, the left fielder, Yoenis Cespedes. 6 hits in the series, all of them singles. Cespedes batting .288. He's got 16 home runs. Little disappointed, no fluorescent colored long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, thought he'd break it all out today, but just going with the basic orange, which is one of their colors.
As you said, he's been dressed like a bag of Skittles for most of this series. Bright neon greens and oranges. Slider from Robbie, and it's 0-2. That's the Met orange. Our man Antony was wearing Met orange yesterday. We've convinced him to wear a purple shirt here today because it's Throwback Thursday. Embracing the positivity.
Yeah, you'd have thought the Giants were in town yesterday. Anthony had on his orange shirt. The other guys on the crew in the back of the booth had on their orange shirts.
Looked like a traffic accident in here. They've cleaned up their act nicely, though, today, I think.
They just need a little guidance from time to time.
Well, we all do.
Fashion advice.
And we're the ones to give it. 1-2. Robbie Ray, welcome back. His first start in a month, and he strikes out the side in the first. He had the fastball, the curveball, the slider all working. Rings up Lagares. Conforto goes down swinging. And he gets Cespedes. No score in New York. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the Diamondbacks second against right-hander Rafael Montero. Goldie 314 and 29 home runs. An early start for the Diamondbacks today. 12-10 first pitch here in Flushing, Queens. 2-0 on Goldie. Third in the league with those 98 RBIs. 3 for 13 in the series. Couple of doubles in Tuesday's game. Knocked in 2 runs. How about that first inning for Robbie Ray?
Wow. What are you going to do for an encore?
Well, he's got 24 more. He could strike them all out.
Good for me.
That'll work. Here's the 3-0. First start for Robbie Ray in about a month since he was struck in the head by that line drive in St. Louis, July 28th. And he's faced 3 batters so far and struck all of them out. 3-1 to Goldie. That one missed, a leadoff walk. JD Martinez now. 280 and 26 homers. JD has had a hit and an RBI in every game in this series. He homered here Tuesday night. Montero's got a good lively fastball, the 4-seam and the 2-seam, as Bob mentioned. He's coming off a win over the Marlins in his previous start. That was last Saturday here at Citi Field. Allowed just 1 run in 6 innings. Started the year in the bullpen, but 9 of Montero's last 10 appearances have been starts.
Hey, you mentioned that last time out against the Miami Marlins. The first time in 6 starts he did not allow at least 1 home run. This guy's got really good stuff. It's tough to figure why he doesn't have better success.
Yeah, 2-8 record, and ERA right about 5.5. It's been ugly at times. Got good zip on that fastball. He's got a hard sinking 2-seamer. That's been a very good ground ball pitch for him. The secondary pitch is that slider along with a hard changeup. That's pulled foul, and it's 2-2. Quick throw over to first, and Goldie is back in time. JD reaches down and lifts it to left. Cespedes is there. And Goldie's back to the bag at first.
That ball a long way for making contact with only one hand on the bat.
He can get to that low ball, that's for sure. We've seen him just drop that bat head down there. That's how he got his RBI single last night in the first inning. Brandon Drury at second base today. 270 and 10 homers. 0 for 6 in the series. We'll keep an eye on the out-of-town scoreboard for you today. Diamondbacks are the first game, but there are several afternoon games. Rockies are at Kansas City. German Marquez against Jake Junis. Marlins at the Phillies today. Vance Worley and Jake Thompson. Milwaukee is off today. The Brewers open up a series at Dodger Stadium tomorrow night. Cardinals host the Padres later. Luis Perdomo and Carlos Martinez. Oh, and 2.
As is very apparent, a bright sunny day here at Citi Field today. The shadows would indicate that maybe the guys on the left side are going to have some issues with the sun early in the game. We'll see how it moves as the ball game progresses. I would imagine it'll swing around to the right field side. Not sure exactly which way this field is positioned, but that's usually the way it works.
No sunglasses on hats. That's all we ask. There's that hard changeup from Montero, and it's 1-2. Good article today at MLB.com by Phil Rogers talking about Paul Goldschmidt, and he wrote essentially, look, Goldie is the MVP in the National League this year. It's his time. He deserves it. You can check that out, MLB.com, dbacks.com. Called strike 3. 89-mile-an-hour changeup. Second strikeout for Montero.
As you mentioned earlier, very similar to the Zach Greinke changeup in that he throws it extremely hard, doesn't have a lot of movement, but it's enough off speed from his fastball to get soft contact, which is what Montero's looking for. That time he just froze Brandon Drury.
Ray Fuentes, the start in center field today. Does Greinke's changeup at that same velocity rely more on movement and drop than the one we just saw from Montero?
I think he has more downward movement on his changeup, but you know, it's the same for Zach. He's trying to get the batter to swing at that pitch, but get a little bit out front, just enough to scoot the ball out the barrel of the bat toward the end, get that easy ground ball or pop up. Montero doesn't have quite the same kind of downward movement, but the change in velocity should be enough to get the soft contact he's looking for.
Fastball is strike one. Fuentes, 238, a pair of homers this year. Struck out as a pinch hitter last night, his first game with the Diamondbacks since July 18th. He was out on the DL with a left thumb contusion. Rehabbing in AAA Reno, just called up the other day. Able to not chase that fastball. Checked his swing, and it's 1-2. Montero trying to get him to bite at that one. Goldie still at first after that leadoff walk. And Montero gets his third strikeout. Strands Goldschmidt at first base. Bottom two coming up. No score. The D-backs and the Mets. Fans, if you can't watch the games on your TV, stream them live. Use your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. You can download the app for free and take Fox Sports Arizona and the D-backs with you wherever you go. An impressive return for Robbie Ray, his first start in 1 month, and he struck out the side in the bottom of the first. He got Lagares, Conforto, and Cespedes. And now Wilmer Flores leads off the Mets second. Flores 272 and 15 homers. There's the strike, and it's 0-1. Wilmer Flores only 1 for 12 in the series. He had a single Monday night. Flores seeing much of his time this year at third base. And as usual, he's played a fair amount of first base, second base as well.
him on the back foot. The very definition of a back foot slider that time. Hit him in the right foot.
First base runner for the Mets. Here's their 21-year-old rookie shortstop, Ahmed Rosario. He's been an offensive factor in this series. Certainly 5 hits, a triple and a home run, 269 and 3 homers on the year. He's hit safely now in 6 straight games. Fastball in is ball 1. Rosario, Mets top prospect, made his major league debut August 1st. One of the top prospects in all of baseball, in fact. They're getting a long look at Rosario with Jose Reyes on the DL right now. A little late on that fastball, and it's 1-1. Terry Collins playing the kids. They don't really have any choice. This team heading out on a long road trip after this one today. They'll go to Washington, Cincinnati, and Houston from here. In again with a fastball. Trying to establish the inside part of the plate. It's 2-1. Mets have a number of their top prospects and #1 draft picks playing in this series. Guys like Conforto and Plawecki, Cicchini, Rosario. Robbie's tried the fastball in, the fastball away. He keeps missing. It's 3-1. Dominic Smith on deck. Smith homered here last night. Rosario not giving in on all these fastballs. He's hit safely in 17 of his 21 games since his major league debut. Been a pretty productive hitter for a guy who swings and misses a lot, strikes out. Kind of a free swinger. Lights that one off and drives it to right. J.D. Martinez is there. And Robbie Ray finally wears down Ahmed Rosario. There's another first-round draft pick that the Mets are getting a look at. Big Dominic Smith, their first-round pick 4 years ago. 11th player selected in that draft overall. 190 and 3 homers. Got 3 hits in the series.
Smith hit a long home run to right field last night against Jake Barrett. First batter Jake faced coming into the ball game in relief of Zach Godley, and grooved one to Smith, and he hit it out of here.
Yeah, that one hurt. That's right after Chris Iannetta had hit a home run in the top half of that inning to get the Diamondbacks back within a run. But Smith's homer made it 4-2. That's how they finished, as Chris Flexen got his 3rd big league win, beat Zach Godley, who's now lost 3 straight starts. Fastball missed. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dominic Smith played most of this year at AAA Las Vegas, had a big year in the Coast League, hit .330 there, 16 homers. Leading the league in base hits when he was called up earlier this month. Lays off a curveball, rolls behind Herman, and Flores moves up.
Chris has boxed a couple of them back there this inning. Thought that ball was headed for the dirt. Got into a good blocking position. The ball just got far enough away that Flores very alertly able to move up 90 feet.
Chris Herman has been Robbie Ray's primary catcher this year. Of course, D-backs down to 2 catchers on the roster now that Jeff Mathis is injured. They score that a pass ball charged to Chris Herman. Puts Flores at second, 1 out, and a 3-1 count on Dominic Smith. Smith almost tried to duck out of the way. That one came in to eat. Full count, 3-2. Milwaukee, the catcher, on deck. Oh, just did get a piece of that to stay alive.
A couple of pretty funny looking swings the last 2 deliveries from Robbie. Just trying to stay alive.
Cannot be a fun at bat for a left-hand hitter.
I think the velocity is the real difference maker. You know, a lot of left-handed hitters will go to the plate against a left-handed pitcher and look off speed. They'll look for the breaking ball. Now, Robbie's just as likely to throw 96 up under your chin, so it makes it very tough to go up there with a game plan against him. He might throw you the slider, he might take a little off and throw the slow curve, or he might rush you up in the strike zone with a high 90s fastball.
He's had to throw a lot of pitches, though, to the last 2 hitters, both young guys. Rosario only 21, Smith only 22. They keep fighting off fastballs. An 8-pitch at bat right here. And we'll keep going. These guys are not giving in. Dominic Smith, another product of the Arizona Fall League. Played at Salt River with some of the Diamondbacks a couple of years ago. Was one of the best hitters in the league that fall. Another 3-2 from Robbie Ray. This is lifted out to left for Blanco. 2 outs. Kevin Plawecki, the catcher today. Only 13 games this year, 156 with a homer. Doubled and walked at his start behind the plate Monday. This is Kevin Plawecki's 3rd season of going back and forth between the Mets and their AAA club in Las Vegas. He's about a .200 career hitter in the big leagues. Former 1st-round pick out of Purdue. Don't see a whole lot of baseball players in the major leagues coming out of the Big Ten. Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs is an Indiana Hoosier. You've got Plawecki from Purdue, but there's not too many of them in there.
They play football in the Big Ten, don't they?
Some schools do.
Yeah.
Michigan, I don't believe, does. Wait, what? Our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer, excited about Jim Harbaugh and the khaki crew this year. How's Ohio U looking?
Ohio U's looking good. They play Purdue this year, as a matter of fact.
All right.
I had a peek at the football schedule this morning, and yeah, they play the Boilermakers in West Lafayette, Indiana this year.
The Fighting House Cats.
That's right.
2-1 on Plawecki. Straight heat, 2-2.
All I know is when I went to school at Ohio University, we were everybody's homecoming opponent. They would schedule homecoming around when Ohio U was coming to play football.
Like the Washington Generals.
Well, a lot like that, yeah. We weren't real good in football back in the day, but that's improved considerably.
Yeah, Frank Solich is there, right? He's been
Yeah.
doing a good job. Former Nebraska coach. Full count, 3-2. Robbie's had to throw a whole bunch of pitches in this inning. Struck out the side, 1-2-3 in the first. Back-to-back 3-2 counts. Cicchini, another first-round Met youngster, on deck. The 25th pitch of the inning on the way from Robbie Ray. D-backs, when they get a runner at second base, have a very complicated set of signs. So sometimes things need to be reset. The infielders need to check in. Went with a curveball, couldn't check his swing, and Robbie gets his 4th strikeout. He strands Flores at second and keeps it scoreless. Time for the unlimited baseball breakouts brought to you by T-Mobile. Diamondbacks a half game ahead of the Rockies for the first National League wild card spot. Colorado plays this afternoon at Kansas City. The Brewers 3 off the pace. They are off today. They start a series at Dodger Stadium tomorrow. Cardinals host San Diego later tonight. And the Marlins are playing a day game today at the Phillies. Here's Herman. Last time he faced Rafael Montero, he hit a walk-off home run at Chase Field earlier this year. That was a while ago. May 17th. 11th inning home run.
That's when Chris had that stretch of about a week or 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, where he hit 2 or 3 home runs, and every time a big grin on his face as he rounded the bases.
He homered in 3 straight games earlier this year. It was a walk-off homer to beat the Mets in extras against Montero, who's out there right now. Then he homered in San Diego. And back at Chase Field, he homered against the White Sox. 3 consecutive games, 3 home runs, 1 and 2. Chris making his first appearance in this series, 2 for his last 34 up there. Mets have the shift on, and he belts it right into the shift. Zucchini, the second baseman.
Talking to some D-backs fans earlier this morning, and just half jokingly said we welcome Robbie Ray back to get his bat in the lineup. Team has really had trouble lately scoring runs and driving in runners. Robbie Ray, one of the better hitting pitchers on the staff.
That was Wilmer Flores that had the put out there, so 5-3 erases Herman. Four in a row set down by Montero. Robbie quickly down 0-2. Struck him out, 2 down.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
4 strikeouts now for Rafael Montero. And here's the leadoff man, Gregor Blanco, who punched out to start off the ball game. Sliders to strike it. It's 1-1. Rafael Montero has played parts of the last 4 seasons with the Mets, a career record of just 3-13. He pitched only 19 innings with New York last year, did make 16 starts at AAA Las Vegas. Threw only 10 big league innings 2 years ago. He was down for much of the year with a right rotator cuff problem. 2-2 on Blanco. Ketel Marte hoping to get his chance. We'll count 3-2. Still only 1 base hit in the ball game. That was Marte's single in the first.
There's that 88-mile-an-hour changeup again, a pitch he has ultimate confidence in. We've seen him throw it in hitters' counts. We've seen him throw it in pitchers' counts.
dropped that changeup in there for strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Montero, who set down 6 in a row. No score at Citi Field.
Part of the game, even though it's such a small part of the game and it hasn't happened very often, it is part of the game, and you understand that, you know, it can't happen. So just understanding that it's part of baseball, I think it makes it a little easier.
Todd Welch back here at Citi Field. Robbie Ray back on the mound, and guys, I thought it was important to hear Robbie Ray speak here in game for just a moment as we bring him back to the 3rd inning, as he opens up with a strike. Just about the, you know, perhaps the potential for any kind of trepidation when you go out to the mound after a moment like that. But he is a pretty calm, cool, and collected and a steady guy. And it looks like he's carried that way all the way through. There's a line out to 3rd. And I asked Mike Butcher, his pitching coach, about this in the pregame show, Steve, and, you know, would you approach him about this? And he said, absolutely, I had to. I had to have that conversation with him. And he passed every conversation, just like the protocol to get past that concussion with flying colors.
Well, it seems, Todd, like they were very careful and brought Robbie back in the right way. I mean, he had time to go through all the concussion protocol and passed all those tests with flying colors. And then it was, you know, get in there and throw off a mound, and then face some live hitters over at Salt River Field. He did that 4 innings and 50 pitches. Then go to Visalia and make a rehab start. Don't come right back to the big leagues, Bob. It seems like there was a progression to get Robbie back to this start here today.
Yeah, physically coming back from the concussion is one thing, but mentally getting over that hump of going back out and throwing pitches that might get hit right back at you again. That's probably the biggest hurdle for any pitcher, I would imagine.
I remember when Archie Bradley got, of course, hit by the cargo liner, and he came right back to the big leagues, and Archie admitted that when he came back after the incident, as Montero strikes out, that he was standing on the mound against Giancarlo Stanton, and he thought to himself, this guy might literally kill me.
And it looked that way for a couple of starts. I will never forget that. And I remember the first 48 hours after the concussion when he came back to the clubhouse in St. Louis, and you know, we heard the good news, and if you've been through a concussion, you know about this, that he ate that night and woke up in the morning and was hungry again. There was no nausea. But then he said this, but then I slept for 18 hours. And any neurologist will tell you, okay, that's part of that initial first wave of trying to get out of that concussion feel, and there's nothing quite like it.
Well, he looks like the same old Robbie here today. That slider and curveball have been working. He's hit upper 90s with that fastball. He's got 5 strikeouts so far.
Yeah, the one thing you might be a little concerned with first start back is obviously operating on adrenaline early in this game. You know Robbie's very excited to be back out there doing what he loves to do. And you just wonder if at some point that adrenaline is going to run out and he's going to hit a wall. It's not uncommon for a guy coming off the disabled list to have that happen.
And he's still a young guy, too. I mean, he carries himself very well out there. You forget he's only 25. So there will be some youthful enthusiasm as well. There's the fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2 on Lagares. Well, Robbie did have to throw a whole bunch of pitches in that second inning. Closed the inning with back-to-back 3-2 counts. Now he's run it full here on Lagares with 2 outs in the third. He walked him. First base on balls issued by Robbie today. He did hit a batter. What'd you get Phil Malika for his going away present? Anything?
I said farewell to Phil, the pride of Staten Island, at the conclusion of the pregame show. Off the mean streets of that borough and made it all the way here.
Took the train. Our director, Phil the Iron Horse Malika, directing his final game for us this year. We hope not his last ever. Despite of Phil, we would like to have him back. Despite of everything that's involved.
Maybe an extended spring and then a rehab start, some simulated games. You know, err on the side of caution. Don't rush it along for him.
He keeps us entertained. I know our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer's a big fan of Phil singing in between innings. Phil likes to sing very loudly to himself.
I heard Point Me in the Direction of Albuquerque the other day, which is a Partridge Family staple.
Tragic.
Well, speaking of concussion syndrome,
Phil singing?
Phil's been showing it since he got on board. I think we should have him checked.
He's been a little loopy since day one. Robbie at 50 pitches, 30 for strikes. Fastball by Conforto, who struck out his first time up. All kidding aside, we have really enjoyed working with Phil, and we're very sorry to see him go.
Absolutely.
He has been a lot of fun and an excellent director.
Mediocre singer.
No, he's all right. He kind of grows on you. Maybe not. I guess I'm the only one.
So does a fungus, but you know.
Whoa.
There's a one-man karaoke show down there in that truck.
It's the New Jersey enemy. Can't help it. One and two. I mean, heaven forbid somebody plays a Bon Jovi song around Phil. It's game over.
The Peter Brady solo from It's a Time for Change, though, was.
Oh, yeah, that's brutal.
You've
got to rearrange.
That's it.
Yeah.
No pork chops.
Not good.
Applesauce for you, but.
2-2. Robbie Ray humps it up. Fastball, his 6th strikeout, strands the 2-out walk, gets us to the 4th inning. No score.
Baseball history, partner. I know you remember this one. On August 24th, 2013. The D-backs and the Phillies hooked up in an 18-inning game. Diamondbacks won at 12-7. Took 7 hours and 6 minutes. The longest game played by time for both franchises.
Get him out there. Let's go. What are we waiting for? Ketel Marte. Yeah, that was a long Saturday night in Philadelphia.
Yes, it was.
I remember Trevor Cahill coming out and pitching in relief. He got the win. 18 innings. The funny thing about that, and Diamondback fans may remember this, that was a Saturday night in Philly, but the previous Sunday to start that week, we had played 16 innings at Pittsburgh on that same road trip. So we got 16 innings Sunday at Pittsburgh, then 18 innings Saturday in Philly.
Yeah, the game in Pittsburgh was just a warm-up for the one in Philly. Something to do with the state of Pennsylvania. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
And a few days before that game in Pittsburgh, that was 16 innings, we had a 14-inning game at Chase Field where we beat the Orioles in a walk-off. So that was that year we played something like 88 or 89 extra innings.
Almost 10 extra games in extra innings.
And they were almost all on getaway days. Don't start the plane. We're going to be late. 2-2 on Ketel Marte. Marte's got the only hit in the ball game for either side so far. A little bloop single his first time up. Yeah, that was 7 hours 6 minutes, that game in Philly. No rain delays, nothing, just kept playing. And then we were back early the next morning for the Sunday getaway day game. Let's see how we did. We lost that one 9-5. Roy Halladay beat Patrick Corbin. Let's see. I'm going to check the box score. Didn't a couple guys for the Phillies, they had a couple position players pitch in that game, I think, if memory serves. Let's see. John McDonald, Johnny Mac.
Oh, there you go.
Closed out that game for the Fightin' Phils. Diamondback pitchers in that 18-inning game: Randall Delgado, Will Harris, Joe Thatcher, the Heath Bell Experience, a blown save, Josh Colminter, Yuri De La Rosa, Chaz Rowe, Brad Ziegler, then Trevor Cahill got the win. Cahill 4 innings of relief. Leadoff walk for Marte. Second walk of the ball game issued by Rafael Montero.
See if that would happen to happen today. Daniel Descalso would probably get 7 innings out of the bullpen.
And he could probably continue his streak of scoreless baseball. Here's Jake Lamb. Last time Marte had a 1-out single in the first. The Mets had a shade on, more so than a shift. Rosario was almost right behind the second base bag, and Jake lined it right to him for a double play. And Rosario is almost in that same spot right here. And he'll move closer over to first. They want him way over there now. That one missed.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. They didn't move him until Montero was almost into his delivery. He moved from the shortstop side of second base over to the second base side as the pitch was being delivered.
Maybe he forgot to look into the dugout. 21-year-old rookie. Changeup missed that time. It's 2-0. Here comes Plawecki. Is hit to right field. Conforto's fighting that sun. 1 out. Chance for Goldie here. Goldie walked his first time up. Montero has walked 2. He struck out 5. It's been a bit of a quiet trip for Goldie. He started every game. Just about 230 on the trip, 5 RBIs. He homered in Houston the first game. Hit that one high and deep over the train tracks down the left field line at Minute Maid Park.
His first career home run at Minute Maid Park, which kind of surprised all of us.
Grew up in the Houston area, big Astros fan as a kid. Marte stole second base when he was aboard back in the first inning. His first stolen base of the year, so they'll keep an eye on him over there. Dominic Smith, the rookie, holding Marte on the bag at first. 0-1 to Goldie, missed inside, 1-1.
And one thing Ketel Marte does as a base runner that I really like, you watch him as he takes his lead over there at first base. He's actually behind the baseline. He takes his lead off so that when he dives back to the bag at first, the only thing that Smith has to tag is his hand reaching for the base.
Why don't more guys do that? That seems to make a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure why more guys don't do that. Yeah, especially with the challenge system that's in place now. Any pickoff move to first, you just tag the closest body part. And the way Marte leads off and the way he slides back into the bag at first, there's really nothing there to tag other than his hand.
Goldie. Oh, Cecchini goes top shelf and gets that one. The rookie second baseman Gavin Cecchini with a nice play there to take a base hit away from Goldie.
He shaded up the middle of the field, which really helped him get up and make that catch. Looked like a little soft liner that was going to get through into center field, but Cecchini goes up, makes the catch, stumbles into the grass out in shallow center field.
2 down for J.D. Martinez, who flied out to left his first time up. Off the fist, jammed him. Dominic Smith is there. Montero strands the leadoff walk. No score in New York. Diamondbacks and the Mets. Fans, 2018 Diamondbacks season tickets are on sale right now And you can guarantee your postseason seats when you join the D-backs season ticket holder family. And you can design your own plan. They'll help you out. You can go a full season, go a half season, design your own weekend season ticket plan, pick whichever series you want. It's all up to you. Diamondbacks will help you sort that out. All the information you need is online right now at dbacks.com/season tickets. 2018 D-backs season seats on sale right now. Get postseason priority. Yoenis Cespedes, who struck out his first time up against Robbie Ray, leads off the fourth. Robbie has yet to give up a base hit. He's got 6 strikeouts. He's walked 1. He's hit a batter. 55 pitches, 33 for strikes. Cespedes sends one out of here. There it goes. Yoenis Cespedes. That's his 17th, and it's 1-0 New York. Cespedes has been hot at 6 homers in his last 15 games. And his 7th hit in this series.
Yeah, it looked like a breaking ball that just did not get to the spot. Leaves it up over the heart of the plate at 80 miles an hour. No doubt about that one. They have big power hitters like Cespedes. They can slow their swing down. If they see off speed like that pitch from Robbie Ray right there that's going to be in the strike zone, they can slow their swing down. Especially after you've had to speed your swing up to catch up to 95 or 96, but they can slow it down to be right on that off-speed pitch if it's in the strike zone.
1-1 on Wilmer Flores. 17th of the year for Cespedes, but just his 5th home run this season here at Citi Field. Flores hit on the back foot by a back foot slider when he led off the second. Hence the name, 2-1. There's that same slider. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 17th home run given up this year by Robbie Ray. This is his 21st start. Ahmed Rosario, who homered in this series, is on deck. Chased a fastball up and away, and Robbie Ray gets his 7th strikeout.
They got the strikeout here, but Robbie's missed up and away to right-handers with that fastball in the last 2 innings here. Just not really consistently finishing that pitch off, leaving him up and away from the righties. Fortunately got the swing and a miss from Flores that time.
Here's another right-hand hitter, Ahmed Rosario. Flied out to right his first time up. And a long at bat, fouled off a whole bunch of pitches, and he fouls that one off. Yoenis Cespedes got the big bucks from the Mets. 4 years, $110 million. He's got a full no trade clause in there. You name it, he's got it.
There's a story in one of the local papers today about the fact that Jose Reyes and Yoenis Cespedes kind of mentoring some of the young Mets players, and they've got plenty of them up here on the major league roster right now. I'm not so sure Yoenis Cespedes is a guy I'd want mentoring young players.
He's probably about as good a mentor as George Costanza.
The next ball he runs out hard will be the first one.
Well, his average annual value in that deal, the AAV, which is a term they like to use, is $27.5 million a year. That's the second most ever for a position player, behind only Miguel Cabrera. So he's making some big money here. Of course, he was a big part of that Mets drive to the World Series a couple of years ago when they picked him up in the middle of the year from the Tigers. And then last year an All-Star, hit 31 homers. Got the big bucks to come back. 0-2. Robbie has that one go right back to the mound. Couldn't find it there for a while, but recovered nicely to throw out Rosario. Well, there's the first line shot comebacker. And he recovers for the second out. Everybody making sure he's okay. This was the psychological aspect that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, unfortunately hit down below waist level. Looked like it hit him in the back of the leg. They're going to check on him just to make sure he's okay out there on the mound.
Ryan DePanfilo is out there.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have him make a couple of warm-up tosses. Yeah, even something as seemingly innocent as a ground ball that hits you in the back of the leg. If you've ever had a Charlie horse where somebody comes up and knuckles you real hard in the quad muscle or the calf muscle, that's what it feels like. It's almost like a cramp. And, until you actually get out there and move around a little bit, make sure your delivery is still fluid and everything is where you want it to be, even something like getting hit in the muscle with a comebacker can be damaging.
Where have you been walking where people are attacking you and punching you in the leg? That's my concern.
You know, when I was a kid, you sit there and study hall, and when the teacher would look away, you take your knuckle and whack somebody right in the quad and watch it spasm.
It's a tough school.
It is a tough school.
Hey. They sacked the quarterback. They went after his family. Dominic Smith. Lazy fly ball to right. JD Martinez coming in. And that's the end of the inning. But Yoenis Cespedes hits his 17th home run of the year. Mets take a 1-0 lead.
Weekend, August 25th through August 27th at the MLBshop.com with limited edition D-backs jerseys and t-shirts featuring player pick nicknames. Wear the gear the players will wear on field next weekend. Available only while supplies last at MLBshop.com.
Do you want to explain that one, or should I?
Well, I think all the fans are familiar with the kiss cam that they do at just about every ballpark between innings, and they had a mom and a dad separated by the son sitting between them, and when they went behind him to kiss, he mimicked regurgitating into his popcorn box.
It was well played.
Go on, mom and dad.
Brandon Drury leads off the 5th against Rafael Montero. Brandon struck out looking his first time up today, 0 for 7 in the series. Well, it's another case of what we saw last night with the D-backs. You're up against Chris Flexen, a rookie making only his 6th major league start, a guy who was quite literally a double-A pitcher. And he had a very good night. Now you're up against Rafael Montero, who comes in 2-8. And so far he's got 5 strikeouts. He's given up only 1 base hit. He's got a 1-0 lead. Look at some of the numbers and some of the circumstances. These are pitchers against whom the Diamondbacks should be feasting, but instead these guys have looked pretty good.
Yeah, with Flexen you can understand it a little bit because there was no real history there. They had to do all their scouting via the video, but you know, after the first time through the lineup you thought maybe the Diamondbacks had him figured out, but it just wasn't the case last night.
One hopper to Rosario, the shortstop. Yeah, you know, credit to Chris Flexen. He pitched well. 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. He did walk 4. Diamondbacks had plenty of chances to bust the game open, just couldn't get that hit. And here's Montero, a guy who, while he's struggled, 2-8 is hardly a good record. He's got some zip on his fastball, good hard changeup, an effective slider. But he's looked a little too much like Doc Gooden out there today. Ray Fuentes. There's that slider. It's 0-1. Marlins are underway at Philadelphia. Miami leads it 1-0 there in the 2nd inning. Miami 5.5 out of a wild card spot in the National League. Fuentes knocks that into center, a 1-out single. Second hit for the D-backs against Rafael Montero. Rockies also in action this afternoon. They're at Kansas City. That game gets underway in about a half hour. Brewers off tonight. Cardinals host the Padres later tonight in St. Louis. Chris Herman grounded to third his first time up today.
Here we go again with the late shift by the Mets. Shortstop was on the third base side of second base, but as the pickoff throw to first was delivered, he moved over on the second base side of second base.
It's either the coaches who were late getting the positioning in there, or Rosario, the 21-year-old rookie, not paying attention. But they do have right now 3 infielders on the right hand side against the Herminator. Flores near the bag at third. Another slider from Montero. 0-1. Been tough for Chris to get it going. Right now, dating back all the way to the last week of June, he is 6 for 70 at the plate. Fuentes took off for second and stopped after a couple of steps. Bluffs and holes. It's 1-1.
Yeah, not sure if that was just a bluff at first base or whether he intended to steal the bag and felt he didn't have a good enough jump. Whatever reason, he stopped after a crossover step. That was a point of contention even back when I managed. You know, a lot of guys, you give them the green light. You trust their judgment. You trust they'll pick a good pitch to run on, and they never run. You had to actually give the stolen base sign to force guys off the bag from time to time. You put the green light on, and there would be several pitches in the next at bat where you're thinking to yourself, geez, that was a good pitch to run on. Geez, that was another good pitch to run on. Why isn't he running? So you'd have to just actually put the stolen base sign on. You're stealing on the next pitch. Yeah, most managers would prefer to give their good base runners the option. You know, you pick a pitch during this sequence when you think they're going to throw an off-speed pitch and take off and steal the base.
A case of maybe a guy not feeling like he had a good read on the pitcher or something.
Yeah. Or just maybe overthinking it a little bit. You know, get a good jump but then stop because you're not sure if it's a good enough jump. Just commit to it. Get out there, get a nice primary lead, commit to that crossover step, and convince yourself you're going on this pitch.
Didn't go. Ryan Addington down there, and it's full on Herman, 3-2. Oh, he bounced it away from the shift, and it trickles into left. Fuentes will stop at second. It's a base hit for Herman. A pair of one-out singles for the Diamondbacks. Well, that left side was wide open.
Yeah, he just cued it right off the end of the bat. Probably had a lot of side English as it rolled through that left side of the infield softly into left. Fuentes had thoughts about trying to go first to third, but Cespedes eventually charges the ball hard and holds him at second.
Now he's got the pitcher Robbie Ray. 2 on and 1 out. Diamondbacks trailing 1-0. All right, none of the Met infielders seem to know where they should be right now. Everybody's looking around at each other, looking into the dugout. Guys are shouting and pointing. Smith will come in at first base. Flores has to stay near the bag at third. Now Rosario backs up at shortstop. And they finally get guys where they want them. Here comes Smith in from first. Robbie Ray bunts at third base side. Flores broke for the bag, and Robbie is out at first.
No.
Mike Estabrook says out.
I don't know about that one.
It sure looked like from way up here he was safe. Wilmer Flores started breaking back toward the third base bag, then had to come in and field the bunt. Here's a look at first. Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me?
How do you miss it by that much? That's remarkable.
Well, this shouldn't take very long. Well, that was a perfectly executed bunt by Robbie Ray. That's the standard routine play with runners at first and second, an obvious bunt situation. The third baseman kind of angles himself and stays back, ideally letting the pitcher field that ball on the third base side of the field, but Robbie bunted it hard enough to get by Montero, and Flores had some indecision. By the time he decided to come in and make the play, Robbie's able to beat it.
I mean, you can't even see Robbie in the picture there, and they quickly correct that one. So the bases are loaded for the D-backs with 1 out, and Blanco's the hitter. Watch Flores at third.
I mean, right away you can tell that Montero's not going to get to that ball. That's just a bad read by Wilmer Flores at third base.
So now 4 hits for the Diamondbacks, 3 consecutive 1-out singles. Have the bases full for Blanco. Dan Worthen, the pitching coach out there. Blanco has struck out both times he's been up today against Rafael Montero. Blanco just 3 for 33 at the plate this month. A chance to bust out in a big way right here with Fuentes at third, Herman at second, and Ray at first. And he laces that one just foul down the right field line. A slider out in front of it. Tried the changeup and missed. It's a ball and a strike. Blanco, a 191 hitter since the All-Star break. Bases full, 1 out. And that is knocked into center, a base hit. Fuentes will score the tying run. They'll stop Herman at third. An RBI single for Gregor Blanco. It's a 1-1 ball game. Hand it off to the next guy.
We've talked about it many times. These rallies that start at the bottom of the order, then you roll around to the guys at the top. Gregor Blanco taking advantage this time. Gets it right off the end of the bat, guides it back up the middle of the field to drive home the first run of the game for the D-backs.
A chance for Ketel Marte, who has singled and walked so far today. Another first pitch slider for Montero. It's 0-1. In the air, left center. Lagares drifting way over there. Cespedes has got it. Here comes Herman. The throw's offline, and the Diamondbacks take a 2-1 lead. RBI for Ketel Marte.
Don't stop now.
Jake Lamb, the hitter.
Cespedes with that big arm out there in left field unleashes one to home plate. Got a lot of tail on that throw. He started it way over there near the pitcher's mound and finally reaches home plate on a couple of hops, but you see Chris Herman sliding home safely with the second run of the game.
2 runs in, 2 on and 2 out. Lamb 0 for 2. Up there with 95 runs batted in, 5th most in the National League. 3 defenders on the right-hand side for the Mets. He swings through a fastball. It's 0-1. Jake doubled last night, still his only hit in the series. Robbie Ray, the pitchers at second, Gregor Blanco at first. Popped him up. Bright sunshine up there. Rosario calling for it. And the Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 2 to take a 2-1 lead in New York. Also the finale of this road trip, which means we get to go back home finally. CenturyLink, you're linked to what's next. Diamondbacks will play their next 25 games against the National League West. It starts tomorrow night at Chase Field with 3 against the Giants. Zach Greinke against Ty Blach. Tomorrow night, Diamondbacks live pregame show on Fox Sports Arizona comes your way at 6 o'clock. And then it's Taijuan Walker and Madison Bumgarner Saturday at Chase Field. Chris Stratton and Patrick Corbett on Sunday. And then an off day on Monday.
A what?
A day off.
What
you don't have to do anything. You don't have to come into work. Nothing. 20 consecutive days, the longest stretch of the year without an off day, ends on Monday. Kevin Plawecki, the Mets catcher, leads off the fifth. Robbie Ray now with a 2-1 lead. Plawecki struck out to end the second his first time up. Robbie has walked one and hit a batter in the ball game. He's got 7 strikeouts. Mets only run on a Yoenis Cespedes home run in the fourth, his 17th of the year. In fact, that is New York's only hit so far. Robbie at 70 pitches, 45 strikes.
Breaking news.
Giancarlo?
Yeah, he did it again. 47th of the season for Giancarlo Stanton.
He's pretty good. Marlins playing at the Phillies today. Vance Worley and Jake Thompson. Miami 5.5 games out of a wild card spot. They have a 2-1 lead. Rockies just about set to get underway at Kansas City against the Royals this afternoon. 2-2 on Kevin Plawecki, the Met catcher. Popped him up. Herman will have a look, but it's in the seats. He was on waivers, Giancarlo Stanton. That was reported last week. Of course, nobody picked him up because then you're going to have to pay him $300 million.
That's a big bite.
Past the non-waiver trade deadline, which means you can still make trades, but everybody has to clear waivers first. So right now, if they wanted to trade Giancarlo, they could.
Yeah.
But find out how the new ownership feels about that. Derek Jeter and company taking over the ownership of the Marlins franchise. Apparently, they will not let him take down the statue. Did you read that?
I did see a little blurb about that.
It's public art.
Yeah.
And so you can't take it down. You got to get permission. And whoever's in charge of that said no. Apparently, inquiries were made. Feelers. That's going to be fouled.
I think it belongs there. I mean, you know, we've talked a lot about how that statue in that ballpark really says Miami.
Oh boy, does it ever.
It really
screams Miami.
I mean, I wouldn't want one of those in my backyard, but you know, for that ballpark it seems to fit.
It's become part of the architecture.
Of course, if you leave it up, Giancarlo Stanton may knock it down by All-Star break next year.
He's hit home runs over it this
Yeah.
year. Full count on Plawecki, 3-2. Fastball away. He didn't bite. Second walk issued by Robbie Ray. Leadoff man's aboard in the Met fifth. Well, you always, once you open a brand new park, you probably change some of the stuff. That happened here at Citi Field. We talked about that when they made it a little too good of a pitcher's park. You see the new fences that were put in along the outfield line. They created some seating areas, some party decks out there. That back fence where the M&Ms are right there, that was the original outfield wall. And nobody could hit a home run here. Gavin Cecchini, the rookie second baseman. And when this park first opened up, the thing that really drove Met fans crazy here, and Anthony will back me up on this, there was no Met blue anywhere. I mean, they really screwed that up. I mean, people want to see the Met color, that light blue color. And so they had to add some blue. It looked like the old Polo Grounds here for a while. So you make adjustments as you go along with these new parks. So maybe they'll do that in Miami. Of course, they brought the trademark apple. Now, Anthony, is that the original apple from Shea? That is not the original apple.
Now, this one I think is bigger than the one they used to have at Shea.
Of course, every time a Met hit a home run, the apple comes up and it explodes and does all kinds of stuff. That was one of the trademarks at Old Shea Stadium. Cecchini lines that one by Lamb at third. A walk and a single open up the Met fifth. Did you ever make that apple go up at Shea with a? Well, they wouldn't do it for a visiting home run.
I hit a few home runs at Shea, but I never saw the apple pop up.
Now you like playing there, right?
I really did. You know, very knowledgeable fans. They were a little rough around the edges, but they knew the game extremely well. And you know, back in the 80s, the Mets had some great teams. It was always fun to come in here and play against those Mets teams. And the dirt at Shea Stadium, I've said many times, is the dirtiest dirt ever in the major leagues. It was more like soot.
It is New York. Corner is in. The pitcher Montero squaring to bunt here. 2 on, no outs. Goldie almost in the right-hand batter's box there. What was how do you get dirt dirtier?
I don't know. It was just kind of a gray powdery substance. It wasn't even like real dirt. And if you happen to be hot and sweaty and you slid into a base or something, you get these big gray streaks all over your uniform. It was really good dirt. Good dirty dirt.
1-0. Here comes Goldie again. Bunts it foul first base side. Well, maybe they just cleaned up the subway and then they spread it around the infield at Shea. Cleaned off the bottoms of the cabs. By the way, our man Anthony, who I have to say is really on top of his game today, wearing Diamondback purple. You hit 7 home runs at Shea Stadium.
Really?
31 games at Shea, you hit 7 homers.
Wow.
That's impressive. No wonder you liked it. Here's the 1-1.
Well, my 1 week that I made National League Player of the Week involved a 3-game series at Shea Stadium, and I hit a couple of home runs late in that series, and then we went to Montreal, and that's when I had my inside the park homer and was named Player of the Week for that particular week, and then ran out of gas the rest of the year.
Well, you love Shea. You did well there that week. You went to Montreal, but you hate UP. I would think, like you like Shea, you'd like UP better.
No.
All right. Gonna square up here with 2 strikes. Pulls back and takes ball 2.
Yeah, that trip you went from the dirtiest dirt in Major League Baseball to no dirt up in Montreal.
Concrete.
Yeah.
Just ask Andre Dawson's knees about that. Goldie still in halfway from first. 2-2 on the pitcher Rafael Montero. 2 on, nobody out. Can't get the bunt down and strikes out. So the Diamondbacks catch a break there. 1 down.
It might have been a little psychologically daunting for Montero there, trying to get the bunt down. There's the old apple from Shea Stadium right out in front of Citi Field.
Now that's the original, the hat and everything.
Yeah.
They brought it over. Of course, the Shea Stadium was the parking lot, just a few feet away in spots from where Citi Field is now, right behind home plate. And they have a newer, bigger one out there now in center. Let's hope it stays down.
Yeah.
Here's the leadoff man, Juan Lagares, who has struck out and walked. He's got Plawecki at second, Cecchini at first, 1 out. Fastball is the strike, 0-1. Lagares sitting only 192 in a dozen games since he came back from a left thumb injury. Missed about 50 games, fractured a joint in his left thumb back in June. Robbie's ahead 0-2. Lagares only 1 for 10 in the series. Robbie working hard to keep this a 2-1 D-backs lead. Fair ball at third for Lamb. Steps on the bag for 1. No time to turn 2 against Lagares with that center fielder speed, but they cut down the lead man, and Robbie has 2 outs. The dangerous Michael Conforto. 27 home runs on the year. 6 against left-hand pitchers, but he's 0 for 2 so far against Robbie Ray with a pair of strikeouts. 2 on and 2 out. Cicchini in second, Lagares at first. Bullpen will start to get busy for the Diamondbacks. Robbie approaching 90 pitches. Checked his swing on the slider. 2 balls and no strikes. Conforto homered here Monday night. He's got 4 hits and 3 runs batted in the series. Conforto went down. A hard swing and miss at that fastball, and he's in a lot of pain. Big cut there by Michael Conforto, the all-star outfielder, on a hard fastball from Robbie Ray.
It looked like he tried to make an adjustment mid-swing. Robbie threw that fastball up and in. Conforto started his swing and then realized that pitch was going to be inside. Boy, he's in a lot of pain.
Something popped there, an elbow or a shoulder. Here's a look. Looks like something in that shoulder. Well, they're going to need a hitter here. It's a count of 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 on and 2 out in a 1-run ball game.
You would figure either Brandon Nimmo or Matt Reynolds off the bench. Looks like Nimmo putting on a helmet, grabbing a bat.
Nimmo, a left-hand batter. He will finish off the at-bat here. Nimmo hitting .280 on the year. He has doubled twice and walked 3 times in the series. Drew 3 bases on balls in his start last night. Doubled and walked 3 times as the leadoff man. He scored twice. So here's Nimmo hitting for Conforto.
As if the Mets need any more injuries to worry about. Patchwork starting rotation. They've traded away most of their veteran players. Quick visit by Mike Butcher here to quickly go over the scouting report on Brandon Nimmo. Conforto have been one of their best and most consistent hitters this year, with everybody dropping around him.
Well, Nimmo came up against a lefty last night. Jorge De La Rosa drew a base on balls. He's only played 33 games with the Mets this year, so it's a small sample size. 2 for 10 against left-hand pitchers with 5 strikeouts. Two on, 2 out, 2 balls and 1 strike. I've got to think, Bob, a guy coming off dead cold off the bench, just fire some high heat in there.
Rush him upstairs, up above the hands, preferably on the inside corner of the plate. I mean, that's one of the toughest things in baseball to do. We talk about pinch hitters all the time, but in a situation like this, when a guy goes down via an injury, and he might have even been sitting up in the clubhouse watching the game on TV. No way he's up to game speed right now.
And he's got to go up there against a lefty who can throw it in the upper 90s. Full count now, 3-2. Cecchini, the runner, at second. Lagares at first. He'll be off with a pitch here. Runners on the move, and that's a strike 3. Marvin Hudson rings up Nimmo. 9 strikeouts for Robbie Ray, who strands 2 and keeps it a 2-1 D-backs lead. Hey fans, now's the time. Don't forget, you can enjoy afternoon baseball at Chase Field with matinee price tickets. And the next matinee game is coming up Thursday against the Dodgers, August 31st, 12:40 start. Get your matinee tickets for the D-backs and those Dodgers. dbacks.com/matinee tickets on sale right now. Pretty good way to spend the day out at Chase Field. Brandon Nimmo, who finished off the at-bat for Conforto, takes over in right field. Goldie leads off the 6th against right-hander Rafael Montero. That's hard to shortstop. Rosario gets over there, knocks it down, but it's an infield single for Goldie. Seen Rosario, Bob, do that a number of times. He gets to just about everything, but he doesn't often collect it.
Yeah, doesn't get it in the glove and control the ball. He's knocked down several hard hit balls, both up the middle and in the hole between third and short, but just hasn't been able to come up with the ball cleanly to make the play.
J.D. Martinez 0 for 2. Do you ever see a guy like Conforto just swing real hard like that and pop a shoulder out or an elbow, or we don't know what happened to him exactly?
You know, the first thing that popped into my mind was Dave Dravecky. I've seen it on the mound.
Yeah.
Joe Saunders did the same thing coming back from an injury. Just threw a pitch and the bone in his upper arm broke on the delivery. I've never seen a hitter do it on a swing, however.
Goldie got a great jump. He heads for second, and he's in there with his 17th stolen base. No chance for Plawecki on that one. Goldie, look at that break.
Got a great jump that time. Anticipating the first move. Textbook slide. Let the front leg stop your momentum. Right on the base.
0-2 on J.D. Martinez. Popped it up. Rosario calling forward at shortstop. And the wind has got a hold of it, and that's the first out.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, that'd be nice. Let's get 5 and pick up some tacos on the way into Chase Field tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go.
That works out well if we can coordinate all that. Brandon Drury 0 for 2, 0 for 8 in the series so far. Goldie at second, 1 out. Montero at 95 pitches. That's bullpen starting to get some activity down there. Smoker if you got him. Josh Smoker, the left-handed. Plawecki out there. Goldie bluffed toward third, held up halfway there as Drury takes a slider for a strike. Making a lot of noise back there.
Well, if you're going to try to steal third, you want to do it with only 1 out in the inning. That way Brandon Drury could possibly drive Goldie home with a medium deep fly ball to the outfield. The infield will probably be drawn in, drive a ball through the infield. But you want to get there early in the at bat with 1 out if you possibly can.
Yeah, so Montero looking back. Goldie had a huge secondary lead in the previous pitch. Got that fastball in there on the hands. It's 1-2. We stayed, as we mentioned, our thanks to Roger Riley, who really hooked us up with a terrific hotel in New York. And I was very well, not surprised really, because all the folks here are genuinely friendly and they're warm, but all the folks on the street still want to talk to you about Gonzo's hit.
Yeah, that line drive.
There was a lot of discussion about that in the hotel lobby this morning. All the New York doormen and all the typical New York guys with the accents and the whole thing.
Well, we found out rather quickly that not everybody in New York is a Yankee fan.
A lot of Met fans, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They loved it.
But it's funny to hear the New York perspective on that. Of course, the Yankee folks all talk about how the infield, should have been where they weren't. 2-2.
Well, Gonzo would have hit it somewhere else if the infield was playing back.
Oh yeah, it just all worked out.
Yeah.
But it's funny, all these years later you come back and everybody wants to talk about that moment. It's one of the great things about baseball. Full count on Drury, 3-2.
Yeah, it really was amazing all the Mets fans and the Red Sox fans that suddenly became D-backs fans in 2001.
You're looking at one right here. It was jumping up and down when Gonzo had that hit. Oh, a little squib shot is going to get down into short right. This will get Goldie home, and it's 3-1 Diamondbacks. RBI single for Brandon Drury, who really did just fight that one off.
I think Brandon's been owed a few of those. He's hit some line drives right at people recently. This is just a little jam shot floater out into no man's land. Hit so softly that Goldie got a good read on it. Just one quick peek over his shoulder to see where Nimmo was positioned out there in right field, and he scores without a play.
Yeah, checked up nicely in short right. That'll be it for Rafael Montero. Here's Terry Collins. As the Diamondbacks take a 3-1 lead, we'll take a break at Citi Field. RBI knock, and it's 3-1 D-backs in the 6th inning. That ends the day for Rafael Montero, the right-hander, and on for the Mets is the lefty Josh Smoker, who was out for about a month with a left shoulder strain. Just came back not too long ago, and he's given up 6 earned runs in 12 innings since he came off the DL.
He has 46 strikeouts in 41 innings of work, but he's also walked 24 batters and given up 9 home runs. Opponents hitting over 300 against the Mets left-hander.
D-backs have out-hit the Mets 7-2. They lead at 3-1. Brandon Drury at first. 1 out, 1 run in. Here's Fuentes, who singled and scored his last time up. And he hits that hard into right. Brandon Drury will take the turn and head for third. Ray Fuentes the start in center field today, 2 for 3. Here's Chris Herman. Chris singled and scored in the 5th. He's 1 for 2. He was up there with the shift on and just kind of squirted one the other way toward third. Wide open part of the infield. Drury at third. Fuentes with good speed at first. Smoker spiked the slider, and it's 1-0. Chris Herman 4 for 34 against left-hand pitching this year. Word on Michael Conforto, who was injured swinging and missing in a Robbie Ray fastball. He dislocated his left shoulder, so it was the shoulder. Dislocated left shoulder for Michael Conforto. Here's the 1-1 to Chris Herman. Boy, the Mets are just having one of those years. Everybody's hurt. Fastball gets the strike call from Marvin Hudson. It's 1-2. Pitcher spot up next. Adam Rosales is in the on deck circle. Adam had a terrific game here Tuesday night. Played great defense at third, hit a home run. Fuentes takes off. Plawecki throws down there. And Ray is in safely with his third stolen base. Herman strikes out, 2 down. And now Rosales will hit for the pitcher. So close the book on Robbie Ray. His return from the concussion. 5 innings. He gave up only 1 run on 2 hits. Had 9 strikeouts. First base open. They'll give Rosales the free pass and work the left hand hitting Gregor Blanco. So the D-backs suddenly bases loaded, 2 outs, and Blanco will hit an RBI single his last time up. Brandon Drury's at third, Ray Fuentes at second, and Adam Rosales at first. Blanco, a 180 hitter against lefties this year, does have a home run.
Mentioned Giancarlo Stanton with a home run earlier today. Now has 100 RBIs on the season, joining Nolan Arenado and Nelson Cruz as the only 3 players in the big leagues right now over 100 RBIs.
Diamondbacks have a couple of guys creeping up on that list. Goldie's at 98, Jake Lamb at 95. Blanco ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Bases full, 2 outs. Fastball's a strike, 2-1. Phillies have come back on the Marlins, though. Philadelphia leads Miami 6-3 at Citizens Bank Park. Rockies and Royals just getting underway in Kansas City. 2-2. Diamondbacks with 2 runs in the 5th, 1 run already in here in the 6th. A chance for Blanco here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Slider almost got to the backstop there. Full count, 3-2.
Start your engines. Yeah. Runners will be off with the pitch.
Tel Marte has a single, a walk, and an RBI sac fly, hoping for his chance. So here we go. Bases full, 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here it is. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. D-backs leave him loaded, but they get 1. Diamondbacks take a 3-1 lead.
The Aaron Judge seats, allegedly 457 feet away from home plate, and it feels like a country mile. I cannot believe how far Aaron Judge hit that ball. Leave it to a Yankee to do that here at Citi Field. Guys, this is quite a hike up here. But
here's a look at the home run right here, Todd.
Yeah.
Our Cox high-speed highlights, and where are you there? Oh, there it is. Yeah, right below the 536 sign.
I got a little dizzy coming up here.
You got some snacks, though, I see.
I think one of the real reasons that I got dizzy is because I had to carry not one shake, I should say, from the Shake Shack, not two.
Well, wait. Are those the black and white shakes?
They're the black and white shakes.
Oh, those are the money.
I have at least, I think it's 1,300 calories coming right to you as soon as I kill 670 of them.
Did Richie pay for those?
It's part of the donut fund, the slush fund.
So yes.
That's what happens when you write off an $85 bucket of donuts.
It was worth it, though.
Made with custard, by the way.
Craig Ritchie really came through there. Yeah, the Shake Shack's a big deal here at Citi Field. David Hernandez answers the Ashline call to the bullpen out there to start the 6th. I'm a little concerned that by the time Todd finishes his and walks all the way over here, not going to be much left.
I can't believe that they said that Aaron Judge's home run was only 454 feet.
Looks like it was a mile and a half from here. Way up there. I mean, that is way up high. There's Cespedes, who homered his last time up against Robbie Ray, his 17th of the year. One of just 2 hits given up by Robbie today. Boy, Bob Robbie looked like the Robbie Ray of old. Certainly, it hasn't been that long, only a month, but he looked like he hasn't skipped a beat.
Yeah, we just hoped he would hit the ground running today, and he certainly did that. Gave up only 2 base hits, one of them a hanging breaking ball to Yoenis Cespedes that he hit out of the ballpark, but other than that, Robbie was dealing.
Walked 2, struck out 9, gave up just the 2 hits, the 1 run on the Cespedes homer. He drives it at J.D. Martinez, deep right field, and it's off the base of the wall. Well, Cespedes, who came into this game with 6 hits in the series, all singles, has now got a home run and a double here today.
Fastball away, stays right on it, barrels it up to right field. J.D. Martinez took kind of a shallow line. I think he thought he might have a play on that ball, but it just accelerated over his head. Short hops underneath the fence out there in right center for a leadoff double for Cespedes.
Wilmer Flores, the cleanup hitter today. He's been hit by a pitch and struck out 0 for 1, 1 for 13 in the series. Yes, he went. Mike Estabrook down there. Little flare, and Marte runs it down. Cespedes back to the bag, 1 out. Take a look at Robbie Ray, 94 pitches, 60 strikes, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. He gave up only 2 hits. Our Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool plays of the game.
Had that fastball in his back pocket all afternoon. The breaking ball was really sharp. That back foot slider got a lot of swings and misses. Just overpowered some of these Mets hitters with his fastball today. Really looked good.
Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop, 0 for 2. Big cut at that fastball. Rosario has been a very effective hitter as of late. He's hitting .340 in his last 13 games, including 3 home runs. He's got a home run in this series. And it's drifting toward the seats and out of play. 0-2. Colorado and Kansas City underway at Kauffman Stadium, and the Royals have taken a 1-0 lead. A leadoff home run. Herman Marquez pitching for Colorado.
Whit Merrifield went deep to lead off that game for Kansas City.
Diamondbacks got a break last night when Greg Holland blew the save. Eric Hosmer hit a walk-off homer. 0-2 on Ahmed Rosario. Struck him out. Good slider there from David Hernandez.
That's what young players will do from time to time, expand their own strike zone. Good slider just off the outside corner that time. Got the swing and a miss.
Well, Torey Lovullo wants a left-hander for Dominic Smith, the rookie first baseman. Trying to strand Cespedes at second base with 2 outs. We'll take a break from Citi Field. A fan, Sunday, September 10th is National Grandparents' Day, and you can create memories with the whole family at the D-backs and Padres game. Get to take home a keepsake photo with a special event ticket pack. You can get that at dbacks.com/grandparents. So bring the grandkids and grandfolks out to Chase Field Sunday, September 10th. Check out the Diamondbacks and the Padres.
Sounds like a game plan.
Special event ticket pack. Here is the sheriff, Andrew Chafin, on to face the left-hand hitting Dominic Smith with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Yoenis Cespedes still at second after his leadoff double. Smith is twice flied out, 0 for 2. By the way, knowing your affinity for pizza, I'm sure you've already noticed this, but I did pick up over on the food aisle here, the level that we're on, there's a pizza they sell at Citi Field called the Grandma Joan.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know.
Oh. Todd Walsh has stepped up big time.
Oh, look at that.
The black and white shakes have made their way to the booth.
Thank you, Todd.
T coming through big time.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
A little soupy.
A bit, but not bad, considering how far he had to walk in. First time I came to Citi Field, I waited in line about 20 minutes for one of these. Everybody says, you got to get the black and white shake. All right. On the ground to first, Goldie's got it. And they're able to strand Cespedes' leadoff double. We hit the 7th in New York. It's 3-1 D-backs. Super fight. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor is here. It all begins tomorrow. The weigh-ins are live on FS1. And then Saturday, the action's on Fox. We host a special pre-fight show at 3 o'clock and then a huge prelims card at 4. And after the super fight, make sure you check out the post-fight commentary, all the interviews on FS1. It's time for your prediction. We're almost at the weigh-in. You've been holding it off all week long, studying your graphs and charts, all your materials provided by your staff. Ketel Marte leads off the 7th against Josh Smoker.
Well, I think I'm going back in my original direction. I think Floyd Mayweather just maybe a little bit too much for Conor McGregor, going out of his element to fight Mayweather. They're just hoping for a good bout, you know. Pay all that money. Two guys going at it like that. You want it to last a while.
Well, we have a 5:10 start Saturday at Chase Field, so you could probably make it. Go back to the estate. Watch the fight.
Maybe.
Get a pizza on the way home.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Did you, by the way, did you try the Grandma Joan pizza here at Citi Field?
I did not this time, but I did in years past. I tried it. And
oh, I thought this was a new thing. This is old.
No.
Oh,
They've
okay.
had it, yeah. That one popped up to the first base side. Smith will battle the sun, make the play. Yeah, Grandma Joan is basically, what do they call it? I can't think of the name. It just has mozzarella cheese and San Marzano tomatoes and basil.
The margarita?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Margarita pizza.
Maybe send Todd over there. Get some pizza with these black and white shakes. Start the long flight home on a good note. Jake Lamb 0 for 3.
Yeah, we can all help Todd work on his expense report on the flight home.
Yeah, we may have to doctor some of those figures, Craig. Our thanks to Craig Ritchie for buying the bucket of donuts, Minnesota. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
New York style pizza right here. Well, we're in New York. That looks good. Jake Lamb rolls one into center, a base hit. Second hit in the series for Jake, a 1-out single in the 7th. Here comes Terry Collins. They're going to go to the bullpen here with Goldie coming up. He'll want a right-hander. We'll take a break from New York. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks. Carlos Stanton, and there it goes off the Phillies. Jake Thompson at Citizens Bank Park. That's right where Ray Fuentes had an extra inning home run when we were there earlier this year. But Tommy Joseph out of Scottsdale answers off Vance Worley. Phillies beating up the Marlins 8-3. They're in the 5th inning right now. Miami only 5.5 out of a wild card spot at the start of play today. Rockies are in action right now. They trail at Kansas City 1-0. New pitcher for the Mets, the right-hander Chasen Bradford, his first appearance of the year, or of this series, pardon me. And he gets to face Goldie, who has walked, singled, stolen a base, and scored a run today. Chasen Bradford made his major league debut earlier this year, June 25th, back and forth from AAA Las Vegas. Goldie 5 hits in 15 at bats in this series. Doubled twice in Tuesday's game. Singled his last time up. Lamb at first, 1 out. Tying him up inside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, Bradford throws a couple of different fastballs. A 4-seamer that's fairly straight. That 2-seamer he just threw to Goldie right there that will tail into a right-handed hitter. Also throws a hard slider. He has a changeup in his arsenal, but rarely uses it.
There's that fastball, 2-2. Wind looks like it's blowing straight in from left field.
Now the flag's on the left field roof area here at Citi Field, blowing straight in, but if you look out to right field, they're blowing straight in from right also.
Full count, 3-2. JD Martinez 0 for 3 on deck.
You know, as is the case with most of these stadiums, once the wind kind of gets inside the bowl, these big 3-deck stadiums, it just kind of swirls around. You're never quite sure exactly where it's blowing. Flags aren't always the best indicator.
Lamb takes off for second. Goldie fouls that one away.
Well, it looked like he slipped in the batter's box as he was swinging that time. Immediately looked down. He's doing some manicuring in that right-handed batter's box. He is usually so balanced and so under control. You rarely see him take an awkward swing or lose his footing like he did on that last swing.
Lamb takes off again, and once more Goldie fouls one off. D-backs have out hit the Mets 9-3. They lead at 3-1. RBI single by Gregor Blanco in the 5th, followed by a sacrifice fly from Ketel Marte. D-backs had a 2-1 lead at that point. They've added one more on Brandon Drury's RBI single in the 6th. Yoenis Cespedes broke open the scoring. A leadoff home run in the 4th against Robbie Ray. Still the Mets' only run. There's Cespedes, his 17th of the year. Another 3-2 to Paul Goldschmidt. Lamb takes off for second. Goldie strikes out, and Lamb is thrown out. And that ends the 7th. We stretch at Citi Field. D-backs lead the Mets 3-1. Diamondbacks have a 3-1 lead as we start the home half of the 7th inning. Trying to take 3 of 4 here for the Mets to close out this long 9-game road trip. Andrew Chafin back out on the mound. He'll face Mets catcher Kevin Plawecki to lead it off. Plawecki has struck out and walked today, 0 for 1. Archie Bradley warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Mets have some action down there as well. Looks like Eric Goodell, the right-hander for New York. Bring in the beard. There was a whole row of young ladies at the game last night wearing the Archie Bradley Bring in the Beard red t-shirt that has become a very hot item all over the major leagues.
Now, between the Archie Bradley fan club we had here at the ball game and the Merchant Marines that were here rooting for Jake Lamb, Diamondbacks were well represented in the stands here at Citi Field.
Yeah, good call. That was a cool story that Todd brought to us yesterday. Merchant Marine, about 100 sailors sitting out there in right center field. A whole bunch from Arizona. And an Arizona State flag, a big D-backs flag, a Jake Lamb big head. There was a young lady who was particularly enthralled with Jake Lamb, as many are. And she had a plebe, and the poor plebe had to carry around the Jake Lamb big head behind the young lady everywhere she went. I still think you should get a plebe. You know, you could just turn around and tell the guy, give me 20. Drop down. Let's see some push-ups. Something. Get me a black and white shake.
Yeah, go get me another black and white shake.
Yeah, mine's already gone.
Yeah, they don't last very long. I think my cup had a leak in it.
Two and two. Check swing foul. Finally get to go back home after this one. We'll see you at Chase Field tomorrow night. dbacks.com/tickets. Zach Greinke on the mound against the Giants. Great game Saturday. 5:10 start. Taijuan Walker against Madison Bumgarner. Milwaukee able to check there. It's a full count, 3-2. Sunday's game, Patrick Corbin against Chris Stratton. Gavin Cecchini, the second baseman, the on-deck hitter. This is driven to center. Fuentes will play it on a hop. It gets behind him. And Plawecki gets an extra base as it rolls back to the warning track. Blanco over there to back up.
Yeah, just kind of lost his focus, just very routinely playing that ball on a hop, but it kind of handcuffed him, hit off the heel of his glove. That'll go as a single and an E8, I'm sure.
Yep, single error on the center fielder Fuentes. Gavin Cecchini, second baseman, singled in his last at bat, 1 for 2. Mets today 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
This is one of those games where a 3-1 lead feels a lot more comfortable than it really is. The Mets are one swing away from tying this ball game up. It feels like the D-backs have been totally in command of the game, but only a 2-run lead on the scoreboard.
Out hits the Mets 9-4. Pitcher spot up next as Drupal Cabrera in the on-deck circle. Ready to hit for Bradford, the pitcher. 1-1 on Gavin Cecchini. Cecchini making just his 7th start this year. Singled his last time up, so he's hit safely in all 7 starts. That's first-round draft pick in 2012 out of high school in Lake Charles, Louisiana. There's his Drupal Cabrera, the switch hitter. He's the on-deck man. Cespedes, the 12th overall pick in that 2012 draft. He was drafted ahead of Corey Seager and Michael Wacha, Jose Barrios, Marcus Stroman. He's playing a couple of seasons in the Arizona Fall League with Salt River and with Scottsdale. 2-2. Sliders in the dirt out in front of home plate. It's a full count, 3-2. Archie Bradley still warming up with the Diamondback bullpen. Chafin has gone to a full count on the first 2 hitters in this Mets 7th. All 4, he walked him. Tying runs aboard with no outs. They will recall Cabrera. Looks like Matt Reynolds will be the hitter. Torey Lovullo, once they announce the right-hand batter, has his right-hander ready in the bullpen. It'll be Archie Bradley, who inherits a bit of a jam here. 2 on, no outs, 2-run lead back after this. Hold a 3-1 lead, bottom 7, but the Mets have the tying runs aboard with nobody out. And so in from the D-backs bullpen comes the right-hander Archie Bradley. A 1.29 ERA, his 48th appearance. He'll face the right-hand batting Matt Reynolds hitting for the pitcher.
Archie pitched in game 1 of this series, came in and immediately walked the first 2 batters he faced, gave up an RBI single, but then settled in after that, put zeros on the board in his inning and 2/3.
Reynolds is 0 for 5 in the series with 4 strikeouts. And so here he is with Milwaukee at second and Cecchini at first. Where's the bunt? Pops it up and it drops in. Goldie picks it up and they cut down Plawecki at third. Archie made a diving attempt that looked like trouble, but Goldie was right there, charging in from first. I think Archie broke his pants.
Well, popped up to the third base side. You can see Goldie charging hard from first base right there to clean it up when Archie Bradley can't quite get to that pop up. Tough play for the base runner right there. You're not sure if that ball's going to get down or not. By the time Plawecki decides to go to third, he's out easily.
New belt for Archie Bradley. His roommate Jake Lamb there to give him a hard time. So now it's first and second, one out. Here's the leadoff man, Juan Lagares. Lagares has walked. He's 0 for 2. Missed in with a fastball. It's 1-0. Lagares 1 for 11 in the series. He singled in last night's game. In again with a fastball, and again he missed. It's 2-0. Archie still trying to clean himself up after that diving attempt. Missed upstairs with a fastball, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Brandon Nimmo is on deck. He walked and the bases are loaded. Nimmo came in the middle of an at-bat for Michael Conforto when Conforto swung and missed at a Robbie Ray fastball and dislocated his left shoulder. He dropped straight to the ground. And so Nimmo finished off the at-bat, struck out looking, and now here's Mike Butcher to talk to Archie Bradley. Archie has thrown 5 pitches so far and only 1 strike. That was the Reynolds bunt attempt.
And Archie slammed to the ground pretty hard on that third base side of the field, trying to make the diving catch on that bunt. Not sure if that's affected him in this inning, but really had trouble getting the ball down in the zone.
Torey Lovullo's club clinging to a 3-1 lead here with the bases full and 1 out. Nimmo has doubled twice and walked 3 times in the series. Cecchini at third, Reynolds at second, and Lagares at first. Tried the knuckle curve, missed with that one. Tying runs at second, go ahead runs at first. There's a strike on the fastball. It's 1-1. Really having trouble locating that fastball.
It looked like a pretty good pitch that time by Archie, but when you're spraying him around the way he has been since coming into this ball game, you're probably not going to get those borderline calls.
Two and two. Well, that previous pitch was right where you'd want it, but couldn't get the call from Marvin Hudson. Nimmo, another Mets first-round pick out of Cheyenne, Wyoming 6 years ago. As they get a look at all the kids in their system. 2 and 2. Missed badly with that one. It's full. Cespedes, who homered in the fourth, is on deck. Ten pitches, only 3 strikes. 3 and 2 to Brandon Nimmo. Bounce to second. Drury for 1. Cecchini scores, and it's a 1-run lead. First base open. You could give Cespedes the free pass if you want and work to Wilmer Flores. Cespedes homered in the fourth against Robbie Ray, his 17th of the year. And that's what they'll do.
Yeah, really no upside in pitching to Cespedes. He's had a pretty good series, seeing the ball well, hitting it hard when he's gotten strikes to swing at. Just take the bat right out of his hands.
So it'll be up to Flores, who's been hit by a pitch, struck out and lined to shortstop. Reynolds is at third. He's the tying run. Lagares at second. He's the go-ahead run. Cespedes at first. Bases full, 2 outs. Wilmer Flores. Fastball in, 1-0. Flores 1 hit in 14 at bats in the series. That was a single in Monday's opener. A 1-1 from Archie Bradley. Oh. Didn't get the call from Marvin Hudson. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. 15 pitches, 6 strikes. Flores, a career .213 hitter with the bases loaded.
One for 6 this season with the bases loaded for Flores.
He's ahead 2-1. Two and 2. Tying run at third. Go ahead run at second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here it is. Got him, Archie Bradley. Didn't have his A game, but he got it done. It stays Diamondbacks advantage, 3-2 ball game. Behind the Diamondbacks for that first NL wild card. Pitching Ederman Marquez at the Royals in Kansas City, and Whit Merrifield hits a solo homer to lead it off. And then it's Brandon Moss. Right now the Rockies are trailing in Kansas City. Royals lead it 2-0. They're in the 4th. Archie Bradley clearly didn't have the usual command we see from Archie, but he was able to get it done, leave the bases loaded. Mets get a run, however, so it's 3-2 as Eric Goodell is on to start the 8th inning. We saw him in Monday's series opener. Goodell gave up a home run to A.J. Pollock in the 10th, ended up with a loss in that ball game. He'll face J.D. Martinez, Brandon Drury, and Ray Fuentes 5, 6, and 7 in the Diamondbacks' 8th inning. J.D. 0 for 3 so far. He has a hit and an RBI in every game in this series. Homered here Tuesday. First pitch swinging. Foul at third. Eric Goodell has given up 4 runs in his last 14 appearances. JD can't check his swing there. Bites on a curveball, and it's 0-2. Goodell 25 games at AAA Las Vegas. 2-4 there with an ERA over 6.5. Well, it seems like if you've played for Las Vegas this year, you've played for the Mets.
Yeah, pretty much.
All their injuries, just about everybody's been up here with the big league club.
You know, and not that anybody really cares too much about how the minor league teams are doing, but the trickle-down effect. All those guys that should be playing in AAA are up here at the big league level, so guys that should be in A-ball and AA have also been bumped up a level, probably prematurely.
Martinez swings at a changeup, strikes out. He's 0 for 4.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Brandon Drury had an RBI single his last time up, 1 for 3 today. Fastball's a strike. Brandon has 6 hits on the road trip, including 4 doubles and a homer. Seems like they've been trying to pitch him in the whole ball game. 0-2.
I was thinking that earlier. I remember at the beginning of the season, Brandon Drury was just murdering fastballs inside, even off the plate inside, keeping them fair down into the left field corner. And teams went away from that spot for a while, and Brandon had to make some adjustments, look out over the plate a little bit more. But now they're starting to work their way back inside again.
Teams often adjust pitch locations on hitters as the season goes on like that.
Oh, yeah.
Little half swing roller right to shortstop for Rosario. Ray Fuentes, the hitter now. Ray's had a couple of singles today. He's scored a run and stolen a base. He'll start in center field. Ray's first game back with the Diamondbacks came last night. First time he'd played since July 18th out with that left thumb contusion. He'd been rehabbing in Reno. Well, that Marlins Phillies game is turning out to be a wild one in the cradle of freedom. 8-8 in the 6th inning. Miami 5.5 off a wild card spot, trailing the Rockies. Phillies had a big lead in that one. Giancarlo's already hit 1 today, but Miami's come back to tie it up 8 apiece. Rockies trailing at Kansas City 2-0. Brewers are off tonight. Cardinals host the Padres later tonight. Luis Perdomo against Carlos Martinez. Swing and a miss. Change up there from Goodell. A good one. It's 1-2. Dodgers back at Pittsburgh today after Rich Hill gave up only 1 hit at Pittsburgh last night. Took a no-hitter into the 10th. Josh Harrison's walk-off homer, the Pirates' only hit. They won the game. What did you think about sending Rich Hill back out there after he'd thrown 9 no-hit innings?
I really had no issue with it. I think he was only at 93 pitches through 9 innings of no-hit baseball. Yeah, I mean, I was always a guy, if somebody has a chance to do something historical, I give him every opportunity to do that. Tom Candiotti disagrees with me.
Well, what does he know? Fuentes strikes out. Goodell a 1-2-3 8th inning. Diamondbacks have a 1-run lead in New York. It's 3-2. educators across our great state of Arizona. You can get the Teacher Appreciation Pack for this Saturday's game against the Giants. If you buy a special event D-backs ticket pack, you'll get a suite level ticket to that game, which, by the way, is Taijuan Walker versus Madison Bumgarner. And you'll get a D-backs cooler bag filled with all kinds of back-to-school items, a USB drive, a pad folio, t-shirt, water bottle, all kinds of stuff in there. Visit dbacks.com/teacher. Hot for Teacher this Saturday at Chase Field.
Got it bad. Got it bad.
Bad. Archie Bradley, after a bumpy ride in the 7th, back out there to start the 8th. Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop, is the hitter. And there's a strike. Archie had trouble throwing that fastball for strikes, but got out of a mess with the lead. Gave up 1 run on the Brandon Nimmo RBI ground out. Rosario, Smith, Plawecki 5, 6, and 7 in the Met 8th. Herman and Bradley just can't get together with the bases empty here.
I mean, Archie's basically just a 2-pitch guy. I can't imagine what the issue was there. It's either one or the other.
Fastball or knuckle curveball. Take your pick. Rosario 0 for 3 today. He's got a 6-game hit streak on the line. Has a triple and a home run in this series. Lays off a high fastball, and it's even 2-2. Reaches out and lifts it to right, but Martinez is there. 1 down. We got to be careful with Dominic Smith. He led off the 6th inning last night with a home run against Jake Barrett, his 3rd of the year. He's only played in 13 big league games, just up from the Coast League, where he was having a big season at Las Vegas. .330 there with 16 homers. He was the PCL Player of the Month in July, Dominic Smith, leading the league in hits when he was called up. Sends this one out to left field, pretty deep, but Blanco has room. 2 outs. Kevin Plawecki, the catcher. He has walked and singled today, 1 for 2. D-backs in the 9th inning will have Chris Herman due up, then the pitcher spot, and Gregor Blanco 8, 9, and 1. Ramos, the former Marlins closer who got the save last night, his 23rd of the year, warming up for the Mets. Well, you'd like to get Plawecki here if you could. That means New York in the 9th would have 8, 9, and 1 due up, and you could stay away ideally from Cespedes. There's the knuckle curveball from Archie. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Fastball away, missed. It's 3-1. Gavin Cecchini, rookie second baseman, on deck. .30 pitches for Archie, only half of them for strikes. Hold on there, Kevin. Full count, 3-2. Marvin Hudson back there. He was ready for that fastball, just over the head of Ketel Marte at shortstop. And Plawecki aboard for the 3rd time today.
Got a fastball up about belt high over the middle of the plate. Plawecki barrels it up to left field. The bottom of this Mets order's done some damage today. That's a 2nd hit to go along with the walk for Plawecki.
And here's Cecchini, who has walked, singled, and scored a run, the number 8 hitter. He's had only 24 at bats all season, Gavin Cecchini. But he is the go-ahead run at the plate with 2 outs in the 8th. Does have a homer this year. His first and only major league home run came in June. Hit it off Clayton Kershaw at Dodger Stadium. Knuckle curves, a strike. 0-2. Marvin Hudson seems to be expanding that zone just a bit here in the 8th inning. Archie had some borderline pitches called balls in that 7th. Starting to get some calls here in the 8th. Went back to the curveball. Archie Bradley strands the 2-out single, gets us to the 9th inning. D-backs with a 3-2 lead. Phillies had an 8-3 lead over the Marlins. A.J. Ellis Way out of here at Citizens Bank Park. Then Christian Yelich goes yard. And the Marlins 5.5 out of a wild card spot, chipping away, coming back. JT Realmuto. How about this? An inside the park home run.
Yeah, they've been coming in waves recently. Ball hit high off the wall out there in left center field, ricocheted away from the center fielder, and Realmuto, who is normally a catcher, playing first base today, all the way around.
So the Marlins have come back to tie the Phillies 8-8, bottom 6. Rockies are at Kansas City, still trailing the Royals 2-0. Miami 5.5 games behind Colorado for that second wild card spot. Diamondbacks ahead of the Rockies by a half game. Brewers are off tonight. St. Louis hosts San Diego. Chris Herman leads off the 9th inning. Eric Adell back out there for the Mets. Chris singled and scored in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Now they'll send Wilmer Flores, the third baseman, and a 1-1 count over to short right field. Mets put the shift on for Herman. One and two. Pitcher spot up next for the Diamondbacks, so they'll hit for Bradley. David Peralta in the on deck circle. And Fernando Rodney warming up with the bullpen. Rodney got the save here Tuesday night, his 29th. And save number 28 in the series opener on Monday. Herman strikes out for the second time today, and Goodell has struck out 3 of the 4 he's faced.
Looked like a straight changeup that time with a lot of fade away from the left-handed hitting Chris Herman.
Well, here's an at bat for David Peralta, not in the starting lineup. Hitting for the pitcher Bradley, 4 hits in the series. Had 3 singles and a walk last night, hitting .303 with 13 home runs. He sends Flores back over to the bag at third. David has 9 hits in 7 games on the road trip, had a home run at Minnesota. Breaking ball missed. It's 1-1. Cecchini at second, slides in the outfield grass, and Peralta beats it out. Infield hit for David Peralta.
David coming up a little limp down there at first base after beating that one out. Nice play by Cecchini rather, just to get to that ball, but then it looked like he didn't find the grip immediately out of the glove, and that gave David the opportunity to beat that out for an infield hit.
Oh, that foot slid a bit, it looked like, on the top of the bag maybe, and then he landed awkwardly coming off, but he seems to be okay for the moment. Hit the top of that bag at full speed. Ask Bryce Harper about that. Here's Gregor Blanco. Takes a strike. Blanco, an RBI single in the 5th. He's also struck out 3 times today, 1 for 4. Tries to bunt, gets all spun around. Foul ball, and it's 0-2.
Has more self-defense than anything else. Shows bunt, and then the pitch runs up and in. Just catches a piece of the bat into foul territory there. Fortunately got that hand out of the way.
That's how Chris Owings broke his finger. Struck him out with a changeup. 2 down. 4th time today Blanco was struck out.
Yeah, changeup way up out of the zone that time. And still a little tardy on that pitch.
Ketel Marte has a single, a walk, a stolen base, an RBI sac fly. Peralta the runner at first and 2 outs. Mets have action in their bullpen. Breaking balls in there, strike 1. One of the great advantages of the booth here at Citi Field is you're right behind a whole bunch of Met fans. They have, I have to say, some fairly entertaining comments. They know their baseball here in New York, that's for sure.
And they're very animated about it. There were a couple of gentlemen sitting right in front of us last night. If you'd have tied their hands behind their back, they couldn't have spoken. They were waving their arms all over the place and pointing fingers and making fists.
At least one of them may have been overserved as well.
Just a tad.
D-backs Live, presented by CenturyLink. The post-game show follows the ball game. Tom Walsh will take you inside the Diamondback clubhouse on Fox Sports Arizona. And then we're finally on an airplane back home. Open up a 3-game set against the Giants tomorrow night with Zach Greinke pitching at Chase Field. You can get your tickets at dbacks.com. 3 against the Giants coming up this weekend. Off day Monday, and then 3 big ones against the Dodgers next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Diamondbacks will play their next 25 games against the National League West. So we'll see you at Chase Field this weekend. 2-2 to Ketel Marte. Should be a big weekend at the ballpark. Don't forget Saturday's game. Teacher appreciation packs Get a special event ticket pack for that. dbacks.com/teacher. It'll be Players Weekend. Check out MLBshop.com for all the available player nickname jerseys as Peralta takes second base on the Marte walk, and that'll give Jake Lamb a chance. And Worthen, the pitching coach. Mets have a right-hander ready in their bullpen. They've got Goldie on deck. 2 on and 2 out, 9th inning. Kevin McGowan, the right-hander. We saw him in Tuesday night's ball game here. Ricky Bonus, the bullpen coach out there. So 2 on, 2 out for Lamb. Singled his last time up, 1 for 4. Chance to pad the lead here for Fernando Rodney. Peralta, the runner at second. Marte with good speed at first. Oh, and 2. Doubled up on the curveball that time. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Jake, 2 hits in the series. Doubled last night. He singled his last time up today. Two and 2.
Another run or 2 or 3 wouldn't hurt anything right here.
Things should get awfully comfortable with one big swing from Jake Lamb right here. 28 RBIs in 34 games since the All-Star break for Jake. 5th in the league in runs batted in. 2 on, 2 out, 2 and 2. Just did get a piece of that one. Change up from Goodell. In the air to center, Lagares out there drifting over toward left center field. And Goodell strands 2, so it's a 1-run lead, 3-2 Diamondbacks. And Fernando Rodney is coming in for the save. It would be his 30th of the year. Back after this from New York. And 29 in the Diamondbacks wins here over the Mets Monday and Tuesday. Is out there Thursday afternoon looking for number 30 on the year. He's got a 3-2 lead.
Looks like he's going to face a pinch hitter to start the inning as Drupal Cabrera out into the on-deck circle. And then the top of the Mets order, Juan Lagares and Brandon Nimmo. Hopefully that's it.
Rodney came on Monday night. Gave up a leadoff homer to Michael Conforto in the 10th inning after A.J. Pollock's homer had made it 3-1 Diamondbacks. Got the next 3 outs. Cespedes, Flores, and Smith to get save number 28. And then came on the following night when he needed only 2 pitches to retire Cecchini and get save number 29. And now as Drupal Cabrera will lead it off in the Met ninth. Cabrera 0 for 11 in the series. .253 with 9 home runs on the year. Cabrera, a switch hitter. Left-hand side is his power side. 7 of his 9 home runs. He's about a .220 hitter batting left-handed. Drury back on the outfield grass at second. First pitch changeup, and it's 1-0. Apparently there has been a real Donnybrook brouhaha, benches clearing brawl in Detroit between the Yankees and the Tigers. They're still trying to sort guys out. Tigers have a 6-3 lead. Benches have emptied at Comerica Park. Punches thrown, we're told. Shift is on now for Cabrera. 1-2, and that's fouled straight back. Marte, the shortstop, shades over the first base side of second. Rockies still trailing at Kansas City 2-0. Marlins are tied up at Philadelphia 8-8. They're in the 8th. Inside with a fastball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Came in with a changeup that time, and it's a full count, 3-2. Juan Lagares, the leadoff man. He has walked twice. He'll be next. Brandon Nimmo after that. Three and 2 to his Drupal Cabrera. He didn't go. Ryan Addison, and the tying runs aboard to lead off the ninth.
They're a lot closer than I thought. Very close to being a swing, but Ryan Addison down third base said no, he did not go. Puts a leadoff man on. Terry Collins generally plays it by the book. Down by a run in the 9th inning. Normally he would put down a sac bunt here with Juan Lagares and take his chances with his 2 and 3 hitters with a runner in scoring position. See how he plays it here.
Saw Glenn Sherlock, longtime Diamondback great, coaching at third for the Mets, checking in with Lagares. Lamb will come in a couple of steps at third. Goldie holding Cabrera on the bag at first. First pitch is a fastball in there for strike 1.
And no sign of a bunt that time from Lagares.
Well, he thought he might bunt him over. He got your 2 and 3 hitters coming up next. Lamb backs off now, even with a bag at third. He bunts on the 0-1, hits it hard. Jake charges, bare hand play, and they get the out at first as the tying run moves into scoring position. Is that a case of maybe don't try and bunt on the first pitch, have the third baseman drop back and then try to drop one down, or is that a little too complex?
I don't know exactly what was going on there. Generally, if you're going to show bunt, you show it on the first pitch and then take it off once you get the defense drawn in. It's usually not the other way around, where you show swing on the first delivery and then bunt on the next one.
Here's Nimmo, 0 for 2, an RBI ground out his last time up. Mets are 0 for 11 today with the runners in scoring position. First pitch is ball 1. Nimmo came in the 5th inning, midway through a Michael Conforto at bat after Conforto swung hard and missed at a Robbie Ray fastball and dropped straight to the ground with a dislocated left shoulder. So Nimmo finished the at bat. He stayed in the game in right field. Here's the 1-0 from Fernando Rodney. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Yoenis Cespedes, who homered in the 4th, is on deck. Tying run at second, winning run at the plate, 1 out in the 9th. On and 2. Rockies have scored in Kansas City. Royals lead that one 2-1. Diamondbacks a half game ahead of Colorado for the first National League wild card. Oh, Marvin Hudson wouldn't bite. 2-2. Off the plate. Grounded to first. Goldie's got it. Cabrera in at third. So here we go with Cespedes. Cespedes has had a big series. He's got 8 hits in the series. He has homered and doubled today.
Yeah, don't even bother. Now this is against the book. The book says you never intentionally walk the potential winning run of a ball game, but there's no question Cespedes is the hottest hitter in this Mets lineup right now. Flores has been struggling a little bit at the plate, and I think you have to take the bat out of Yoenis Cespedes' hands and put it on Flores here.
So here comes Wilmer Flores. 0 for 3. Struck out twice. He's been hit by a pitch. He's only 1 for 15 in the series, and that was a single in the opener on Monday. Cabrera is the tying run at third. Cespedes is the winning run at first. 2 outs in the 9th. Rodney and Flores. Ball 1. Flores is hitting just under 200 for August, but he does have some power. He's homered 4 times this month. Missed with a fastball, and it's 2-0. Cespedes breaks for second. This is in the air, right center. Fuentes has it in front of J.D. Martinez and Fernando Rodney. That's arrow number 30 on the year. His third save in this series as the D-backs in 3 hours and 45 minutes take 3 of 4 here today, and they finish up this long road trip on a winning note.
You would never say it going into a series, but the Diamondbacks had to take at least 3 out of 4 in this series against a very, very undermanned Mets ball club. They were able to do that, and now they head on home for a nice homestand against the Giants and the Dodgers.
So for the moment, they're a full 1 game ahead of Colorado for the first National League wild card. And the Rockies right now trailing at Kansas City. Royals lead Colorado 2-1. They're in the 6th inning. The Marlins, who were 5.5 off the wild card pace, have come back to take the lead in Philadelphia. That's a 9-8 ball game, a wild one at Citizens Bank Park. They're in the 8th inning. The Brewers, who were only 3 games out of a wild card spot, are off. Milwaukee opens a series at Dodger Stadium tomorrow night, and the Cardinals, who are 4 off the pace, host the Padres later tonight at Busch Stadium. Robbie Ray's return to the Diamondback rotation is a 3-2 win. D-backs take 3 of 4 here at Citi Field. We'll wrap it up. Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink. The post-game show is next. It was close and dramatic late, but the D-backs hang on and win this one 3-2. Back from New York right after this.